Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Masi, and today we are going to be talking about something that many people seem to be not very considerate of lately. So, today I want us to discuss something that I normally say, but I think people take this a bit too far. So, I always say that if you have a problem, I remember when I was younger or something like that, I used to not complain because every time you complained about something, you were told other people have it worse than you. And then one day, when I was the first time I ever went to therapist, I remember the therapist telling me, "So why did you not talk about?" I was telling her what my situation is, and she was like, "Wow, you are really going through a lot." I was like, "No, it's okay. There are people who have worse than me." And she was like, "Yeah, but you also have. It's not easy what you're going through." And I was, "Yeah, but there are others who are worse than me." And she was like, "Yeah, but stop thinking about the others. Right now, you are the priority." And even when you're in an aeroplane, they always tell you, put your mask on before you help anybody else. And we tend, especially in some cultures, we grew up thinking that other people who have bigger problems than you should always take priority over you. You should not complain because you probably have it better than others. The result of this is we end up seeing like a heightened depression and suicide rate in people who have means because they just have nobody to talk to. And I remember reading an article that like, for example, in a church setting, the pastors' wives tend to go through a lot because if they have problems in their marriage, they have nobody to talk to because everybody just assumes that, I mean, your husband is the pastor. What's wrong with you? What else do you want? You with the jackpot. Why are you complaining? So this happens quite a lot, and then people tend to keep stuff for themselves. Now, the sad part about this is once you learn how to keep things to yourself, you never learn how to let go. So what happens is it keeps accumulating, and by the time and after a while, it just becomes too much, and now all of a sudden it's beyond your control, and you cannot do anything to get help. So this leads to quite a high rate of suicide, which we obviously don't want people to be having, but well, these things happen. I want us to start normalizing people talking about what they're going through. Let people start learning to talk about what they're going through and just not keep things to yourself. Now, the other side, which is actually what this video is about, is know your audience. I have friends who I can talk to about my problems. I find it quite tone deaf if you have a friend who is going through, let's say you have a friend who's jobless and all you do every single day, I mean, well, I'm not saying you cut up, but every single day, all you do is complain about how horrible your job is, how you hate your job, yes, it's true, you might possibly hate your job, you might be going through a burnout, you might have the worst boss in the world. But can you imagine? This is somebody who is at a point that she's feeling, if I'm willing to work that job with that horrible boss just so I can have a job. So sometimes it comes out as insensitive when you are complaining about something to somebody who is going through that same thing. I remember a time when I had used to be friend, and she kept complaining a lot about her financial situation. And she was complaining about her financial situation at a time when my financial situation was non-existent, and she knew this. And she is not complaining about not having money for the next meal. She is complaining about not being able to afford a holiday. Yes, it is a valid concern, but it depends on who she's complaining to. I realized at some point that we were just not compatible. And this is part of the reason why they say that there are just some friends who are for a season, and some when you move, when you change things in your life, then it's not everybody that you will carry on with you. A good example is when we were in primary school, we had friends who, well, basically they were in the same school as us and things like that. Now, the way the Kenyan system works, when you finish primary school, you do an exam, and based on this exam, you go to different schools based on your academic abilities. Now, when you go to this school, you go to different schools, then you are more with people you are on a similar academic level. So not everybody that you were in primary school with will go to the same level of school that you were in. And then the same thing happens when you finish that. Then there's university, and then there are some who go to university and there are some who won't. And then maybe after all this, then you finish and then you become adults, and some who never made it to high school have somehow managed to succeed. Some who never made it to university have somehow managed to succeed, and some who managed to get to university have now dropped down. And now it's all about your financial power. Who has a job? Who doesn't have a job? Who has a family? Who doesn't have a family? And this is where you need to get some sort of the discernment, I guess I would say, because you can't carry everybody with you from this bottom. I mean, from where you started. Because at some point, you will stop having anything in common. You will be talking about one thing and they are looking at you like, what are you talking about? And they are not adding any value to your life. I'm not saying you totally forget them, but I'm just saying your closeness cannot remain the same. This is where you will be talking about, oh, my husband just bought me a car, and all of a sudden, oh, you're showing off. But that's how I got here. I drove here. So what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to not drive when I'm coming to see some friends just because they can't afford cars and they will feel like I'm showing off. So there's all this politics that you have to play with friendship and knowing who to carry with you to the next step in your life, because not everybody needs to come with you to the next step in your life. Another thing, not everybody is supposed to. It's not that you're leaving them behind. Sometimes you just have nothing else in common. You just have nothing else in common. Have you thought of that? And when you're talking about your situation, your problems, sometimes you need somebody who is on the same level. And yes, there are times that you just need to rant. So that doesn't matter. I can be ranting to my 3-year-old. That's fine. But when you need some feedback from your rant, I need somebody who can tell me, okay, so that's what happened. Now, this is what I think you should do about this situation. When you need that kind of feedback, you need to know the kind of friends that you need to be talking to about your problems for you to be able to get this kind of feedback back. Does that make sense? That you can't wake up and say, okay, I need to get back together with all my friends because, well, basically, I don't know if I'm making sense. I'm saying that, okay, not everybody is at the same level as you, right? And if you need to grow, you need to be with people who are on the same level as you. most of the time. Well, I mean, I'm not saying all your friends have, if you're a millionaire, not all your friends have to be a millionaire. You can still learn something from somebody else. But while you're with that somebody else, does it really make sense for you to start complaining about how you're struggling because the stock market has done what? You know, it's like going to complain to somebody who doesn't have feet how much your shoes are hurting or how expensive the shoes have gotten. They they are like, dude, I have other problems right now. So I think knowing your audience when you're complaining about your problems is really important. And that I feel like it's the tone deafness that some of the celebrities in the world seem to have. They think that just because their suffering is justified, because it is. If you feel something has you've been victimized, it's okay. But you cannot keep telling people who are not who cannot even relate to that kind of issue that this you can't keep doing that because it just feels like, are they complaining or are they bragging? You know, it gets a bit tricky when people start feeling like you're making fun of their situation because you don't understand what problems are. You don't understand what suffering is. Anyway, that's all I have to say. I guess that's really all I have to say. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and, well, help me out. Bye bye. Have a nice day.